Greetings to all. In the paper titled Emotion, Labor and Perceived Stress at Workplace, HR Analytics, we have discussed a case study of emotion labor in defense personnel, both from armed forces and civil services. The presentation would contain a brief introduction to the work, workflow, and the results followed by conclusions. As we are all aware, HR analytics is a technique that unifies all data pertaining to human resources for strategic execution of plans to benefit the organization, considering a critical component human resource. Various analyses have been observed in literature. However, considering emotion labor at workspace and perceived stress has very few citations, and the application of them to defense services could not be traced in our survey. Emotions being largely subjective and the fact that emotions are difficult to measure were probably the reasons for ignoring it in initial days. However, it is gaining greater significance in present context, as emotion labor is shaping employees' performance, motivation, productivity, and consequently the growth and progress of the organization are dependent on it. Emotion labor in simple terms is psychological work that an individual performs to display emotions that are acceptable or expected at a workplace while suppressing that are not desired. This concept was first coined by an American sociologist, Hochschild, in 1983. Not being able to express their genuine emotions and being forced to display emotions not actually being felt have got a negative consequences and outcomes, which results in emotional dissonance and a phenomena called burnout, which is characterized by features like emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and decreased personal accomplishments. Brotherich and Grandy restructured the concept of emotional labor and categorized them into job focused and employee focused in 2002. The former took into account characteristics of the job, and the latter one focused on the way individual employees manage their emotions. This concept led subsequently to a development of emotion labor scale, which is used for this analysis. The Indian scale of emotion labor was developed by Gyan in 2011. Stress at workplace has been described and studied in a variety of ways. Some viewed it as a stimulus and the others consider it as a response of human body to certain demands placed on it. However, a perspective look at stress as a process yields good results in assessing the workplace stress. A number of methods have been proposed like job demand control model and effort reward imbalance model. Our study got triggered to quench the questions of co-author Brigadier Dr. Anuj, who tried to establish a relation between perceived work stress and emotion labors in defense employees. He initiated this as an exploratory study. We soon joined him to tune the model into a machine learning problem by extracting features to develop a decision support system for HR analytics. The development was focused on two dependent variables, emotion labor and perceived work stress, and their correlation. Soon, a model was developed using supervised machine learning techniques and orchestration of machine learning methods, and HR analytics resulted in a decision support system for HR analysis. All the tasks required for pre-processing of data to feature extraction, training, testing, and were performed on the model. The screen shows the training accuracy and the test accuracy for simple supervised machine learning methods. Due to time constraints, I am not presenting the details as to how we have developed the model. My data was captured from close to 800 people in the form of questionnaires. A total of 754 responses were selected for analyzing after cleaning the data to remove incomplete responses. Only the responses which included the analysis for both the questions were considered. An average experience of participants was 25 years. The logic behind this decision was the likelihood of getting more meaningful information from such senior officers than compared to a newly joined service officers. Data collection was done through emotional labor scale for Indian context. It considered 12 parameters to identify the four facets of emotional labor, which are surface acting, deep acting, variety of emotional display, and automatic regulation of emotions. Surface acting, as name suggests, changes the surface emotions without having an impact on internal feelings, whereas deep acting will actually try and change the emotions we experience. Both of them come at a cost as described earlier. Workplace stress is estimated using HSE scale, which contains 35 questionnaire considering the 6 areas of management standards such as demand, control, support, relationships, role, change at the workplace. Weighted scores are given to these parameters to analyze the data. A model was developed. It was subjected to training and testing using conventional models of machine learnings, and the various graphs and plots were analyzed to come to a conclusions on the data. The model was developed using Python using supervised techniques. This slide shows the screen of emotion labor facets which are high in both the services. The significance of deep acting and display of emotions is encircled to draw your attention. Similarly, perceived workspace is highlighted in this slide. The lower values of demand, control, and change are of significance. It is observed that demand, control, and change are playing a crucial role in civil services compared to the defense officers. Comparing these parameters of workplace stress and emotional labors within the same service on a gender basis is plotted in this particular slide. I would like to draw your attention onto the circles which bring out the significance as projected on the screen. The next slide gives a correlation between the perceived work stress and emotional labor. The values in red are of higher significance for analyzing the data and deducing the conclusions. Coming to conclusions, the officers of both the services experience emotion labor at workspace. Deep acting and display of emotions is significant than the surface acting and automatic regulations of emotions. 70% of the officers exhibit deep acting at the workspace. Civil services perceived higher significance workplace stress than compared to the armed forces. The reasons are demand and resource imbalance, which was evident from the data. Civil services identified control and change as a major occupational concerns. Role ambiguity, however, was not found, maybe because of the experience data set. Perceived psychosocial stress at work are significantly correlated with emotional labor, and the surface acting resulting in poor outcomes of both the individuals and organizations was very much evident. The key factors influencing them were work stresses like relationship and role. The present study has provided important data for HR planners and aids as a decision making tool. The study should be replicated across a wider canvas to benefit the advantages. Translating the HSC questionnaire into Indian languages would bring wider people into consideration to harness the model further. Unlike a stressful environment of operational requirements and combat requirements of services which cannot be modified, psychosocial stress at workplace can be mitigated by developing a decision support tool. With this slide, I would like to thank everyone for their kind attention. Thank you.